What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I am joined once again by the GOAT, the true OG of the Wise Take Nation, Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. What up, Dirty?
What up? What's going down? Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day. It was very nice of you. That was very considerate. I was just on the phone with you before and I didn't once say Happy Labor Day. My bad, man. My bad. But 6-game slate today, a little earlier of a start than usual. Hopefully, many of you are off and able to enjoy this slate and actually watch some games for once in your life. And it's funny, a lot of people that play DFS recreationally, a lot of them don't even get to watch a lot of the games, man, because they're working. But they just want to have a skin in the game, as the commercials say, right? DraftKings FanDuel, isn't that what they say? Have some skin in the game. Somebody says that.
Do that.
Somebody does.
Somebody does.
I know it. But we have a 6-game slate, so the good thing is you can go in depth. You can make sure that you have certain things covered. This particular 6-game slate is, kind of strange looking. But we're at that point in the season, Paulie, and you and I always know, like in that later half, almost at the end, but not quite of the season, where the numbers just kind of lead you the wrong way and things kind of catch up to people, and you start to see, you just kind of got to do really weird, crazy shit. Not shit that doesn't make sense. It's got to make sense, just maybe not in the way that most people look at it. So I think this is the most important part of the season, where you do have to really get different, especially when you have a 6-game slate or something like this size, where the ownership is going to be pretty concentrated. What do you think?
Indeed, my friend. It's strange that we're at that point because it feels like the season just started. But, I think what that really means is that, like, there can be streaks in baseball that aren't the actual true trends. And, like the Marlins are in the playoff race. If this was a full season, was that going to be realistic? Things of that matter that can change on a whim, and getting different on small slate days is the easiest path to winning, so it's just the way we approach DFS, getting a little contrarian, smart contrarian, not like, shit that makes like 0 cents, but stuff that the field won't really be on that can happen. And when it does, it pays off handsomely, like there may be only one team that scores 9 or more runs today. I bet like 40% of the teams in this slate aren't even going to have more than 5% ownership. So I'm with you. I'm with you all the way.
As we like to say, get different. Yes, get different.
Get different.
With that said, Paulie, let's go ahead and jump into the pitching. What are some of the pitchers up top? We don't have many, but what are the pitchers up top you're considering?
So I got my eye on Zach Gallen on the high end. It's probably my favorite expensive pitcher on the slate. Bill Miller umpiring that game. The Giants offense, very good against lefties, just middle of the pack against righties. The lineup they put out, not extremely intimidating. Where is we at? Yeah, Zach Gallen. He's been very good this year. Neutralish park. He's probably my favorite. I don't mind Scherzer, but I think he's going to be really, really popular. And I actually kind of like the Tampa Bay profile a little bit. And, he's been hit by lefties. They got all lefties up and down that lineup. I just, I think that's just if I was playing cash, I'd play him. But I'm not going to use him in tournaments in the 3 to 5 lineups I build today. Who else is up here? Lamet. I don't mind. I'm like 50-50 on him. I have a little bit of interest in some Rockies bats, but I also respect the shit out of his talent. The Rockies do strike out a ton, so like he could kind of go either way for me. I may have like a Rocky stack or two and also use him in a lineup or two. And then I don't really intend to use Ryu, although I don't hate it. Chris Bassett, I've got some interest in. I think he'll be very low owned since he just got put onto the slate, but he hasn't pitched in like 8 days. Should be fine to go his normal, 100 pitches if he doesn't get hit. And he's very, very good against righties. and they don't have a ton of lefties outside of like Kyle Tucker and um, maybe like Michael Brantley that you have some fear of. So I kind of can dig Chris Bassett. And I think that is it. Yeah, I'll go down to 8-2. I'm not really that into Javier. I kind of prefer the Oak. So Bassett, Lamet, and Gallen, with Gallen and Bassett being the two main guys I plan to use.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Max Scherzer, obviously in cash games, is the guy. I have the same approach to it though, knowing that this is a small slate, knowing he's going to be extremely popular. While he has the upside, like I'm not saying I'm not going to have any Scherzer. I will have some Scherzer in tournaments. I'm just going to go underweight and go overweight on the Rays bats, which we'll talk about. But I think Scherzer in cash regardless, and then Gallen. I agree. I think he looks the best on projection level, everything. He's just been awesome. He's played this team a few times, got a really good umpire. Giants, I think, are a lot better to intimidating to lefties than to righties.
Yeah.
And Evan Longoria got scratched, so I mean, he is one of the better hitters. He is. It's just this year at least. So I'm with you. It's really Gallen for me as far as the spend ups go. Getting into, I guess at that point, talk to me about the guys below 8K.
Okay, Zach Plesac, great numbers so far this year. Royals offense, not very good. Just kind of lines up. His price is real appealing. He'll probably be a popular SP2. I like him SP1, SP2, just like him quite a bit. Outside of maybe the top three guys in that lineup, not even, what's his name's off today? Soler. So, you got Merrifield, Dozier, and then a lineup that doesn't really intimidate you. So he's probably my favorite pitcher on the whole slate. Going down the list here, Brad Keller. He's seen the Indians quite a bit. They don't really have that great a history of him, and he's been just untouchable this year. And he's super cheap. I like the idea of pairing him and Plesac and just hoping for a low-scoring, boring game out there in Cleveland. And that's it. My pitching player pool is going to be Keller, Plesac, Bassett, Gallen, and Lamet. That's it.
I'm definitely with you on Plesac. I don't know why he's that cheap, but I'm with it. I think that he's been awesome. Elite type numbers this season. The Royals, obviously below average offense. He's very cheap. So I'm with you on Plesac. Keller, I think, is the ultimate leverage play if you were looking for that. Now, I get concerned about ceilings with him, but we've seen him do it in situations where he's just getting a lot of ground balls, which is that's his game, trying to get a lot of ground balls. He's played the Indians. The Indians are going to be pretty popular, I would think, today, at least according to ownership projections that I've seen. And I don't think the Indians have ever had a good game against him. I think he's actually played. I don't think he's given up more than two earned runs in a game against the Indians. So going back to last season or so. So I do think he's viable, but I think that Gausman is my favorite spend down. He's going to be chalk. He is, and I know you have some interest in the D-back, so we'll definitely talk about that. I think you have some very valid points, but he's also on the other end of this Bill Miller game. I don't know why DraftKings left him at 6-1. I really don't understand that, and that kind of makes him feel trappy because that's just a clear misprice, and you're just like, oh shit, everyone's going to notice this. At this point, I don't think he's had one bad start this year. At this point, everyone that has played DraftKings for the last couple weeks are going to be like, this guy's underpriced. Like, look at his game logs. He's doing this, but he's priced for this. I'm doing that. So that makes me nervous, which makes me open-minded to the Kellers and all that even more. But I do like Gausman against a D-backs team that, they're bringing up the young guys. They got rid of a few people and are choosing to, I guess, rest certain guys at this point. It looks like they're kind of shutting things down a little bit. But I agree with you in that I think that this game is another game that could be a pitching duel type situation, and I like Gallen as well, so I'm kind of interested there. Talk to me about the stacks, Paulie.
All right, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them written down. My favorite is probably Toronto. This park has been extremely offensive friendly. We have not gotten to have them on many slates at all. And although there's maybe some wind blowing in, we still have a 9-run total. And Jordan Montgomery has not been good against right-handed bats. Toronto's got a ton of good right-handed bats in this lineup. Give me some Guerrero, Gurriel, Grichuk. I don't mind mixing in Biggio, Tellez, VR, um, Danny Jansen, cheap catcher. So I've got some interest there. I don't mind the Yanks on the other side. They'll probably be more of a 3-man for me. I like the profiles on like LeMahieu, Frazier, Torres, like a couple right-handed bats. If you get past Ryu, then the floodgates could open. But I do have like a lot of respect for Ryu, regardless of the part. And the Yankees, they're just not full strength right now. They haven't been this overbearing, dominating offense that they can be without Judge. Stanton, Sanchez is not in the lineup today. So, like if I had to choose Ryu or the Yanks, I think I'd lean slightly towards the Yanks, but they're probably like the 6th team out of my top 5 just on the outside looking in, and probably I would only use for like 3-mans or less, like a one-off of LeMahieu or a 2-man LeMahieu, Frazier, or Boyd or something like that. Other offenses are the Arizona Diamondbacks. I just truly don't believe in Gaussman. I think he doesn't have like a side that he's strong to, so you can take lefties and righties against him. I think that this Arizona Diamondbacks lineup has underachieved. They're very cheap, so you can get some decent pitchers with the stack. You got this kid Matheson batting 5th. We don't know much about, but he's one of their higher hitting prospects. And if you stick him 5th in their lineup, I guess they're expecting him to do pretty well. Cole Calhoun has some good history against Gaussman. I love Christian Walker's power. Kettle Marte seems to be heating up. You got cheap Josh Rojas. That lineup just kind of works for me. Oakland, they saw this Javier guy recently, lit him up. He basically only throws 2 pitches that they profile well against. I am curious to see their lineup. It's Labor Day. You could see you've seen, like Gary the Goat getting a day off. Do want to see their lineup before making a final decision because, you take 1 or 2 of those stud hitters out of there and the lineup can turn very ugly in a hurry. And same goes for the Rockies. I don't have their lineup out yet, but they profiled very well against Lamet, similar to the Ryu against the Yankees. Like, I can make cases for Lamet. I can make cases for the Rockies lineup. They profile well. They'll be very low. They seem to be heating up. And as long as we've got, Blackman, Story, Arenado, the kind of key boppers in the lineup, then I can go there as well. And then if you want to get a little contrarian today, the lefties of Tampa against Scherzer, I think, is viable. You get him out of there, then the floodgates could open. Washington's bullpen was terrible last year. They've been more middle of the pack this year. And the Rays are, that kind of cheap and low-owned upside offense. And when Scherzer does get hit, it's usually via the home run ball, which we've got a bunch of that left-handed power that could do that. So they're interesting as well. Those are the ones I plan to use today.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I'll start with the Rays just because that's where you left off. Listen, it's not a high probability thing to attack Max Scherzer, but it's one of those things where if it does pay off, it's going to pay off massive. Because it's like the same thing with the Mets we saw yesterday. Now, this is a little bit of a different example. I'm not comparing Nola to Scherzer, but Austin Nola. I would think that yesterday we were on the Tigers. We were on a couple teams that did really well, but the one that did the best was the Mets, and they were the ones that were the lowest owned, going up against a guy like Austin Nola. So the risk was like not a great probability spot maybe for the Mets to put up 14 runs. I'm not saying they couldn't hit Nola a little bit, but could have been a 4-1 kind of game. It could have been something like that, but no, they scored 14 runs. So it's like the risk versus reward, and I think Tampa Bay's ownership based off how they're playing is pretty good. Scherzer has struggled against lefties. This season, he's got a 370 WOBA and a 2-0-something ISO against lefties. And the Rays threw out a lot of lefties. On top of that, this park in Washington, for whatever reason, has played extra hitter-friendly. Maybe it's the weather, I don't know. But it's actually rated as one of the better hitting parks out there in terms of fantasy points. So I'm with you on the Rays, man. Like I said, 2 righties in this lineup. And even like a guy like Willie Adames, who you might laugh at batting 5th, he's having a decent year. So it's like you kind of just Rays have you pointed it out to me, they have one of the best records in the baseball. They might have the best record in the AL at this point. But I'm with you on that, man. And Scherzer's pitch count has been elevated at times, so a lot of lefties. I like that. Cleveland, I think we both expect to be the chalk, based off of their projected run total, opponent, everything. I'm not really interested. We talked about why when we talked about Keller. Um, but I did want to address them. I think in going to the Yankee game and Toronto game, I like both sides of this game to go over. This, we don't get this park on the slate very much. FanDuel gets them a couple times when they start earlier. DraftKings, we like never get this. So this park has been very hitter friendly. There's some weather in the area, so we're going to monitor that. But I'm with Paulie, and I'm with the runs here. I'm a little bit more interested in the Yankees, I think, than Paulie is, but I do like both offenses. I'm just as into Toronto. I just like the Yankees also against Ryu, and I think the Yankees are another, like we talk about, high upside offenses that are going to be really low owned. I do think that I don't expect the Yankees to be that popular because they are a little banged up. No Gary Sanchez, no Aaron Judge, no Stanton, and they're playing Ryu, who's having a phenomenal year. Like, he has been awesome. Like, Ryu has been awesome, but this park, has been very hitter friendly. So I like both offenses there. And then the last one I'll talk about is the Rockies. I think that the Nelson Lamet, as good as he's been, is going to have to see probably a lot of lefties. And I think the Rockies are starting to heat up. They got embarrassed in that 23-5 game, but they've been scoring runs in and out of course. Last night, put up 7 runs. Matt Kemp hit a go-ahead homer. I told you got to be running bad when Matt Kemp is the one. It's a go-ahead home run. So I'm with you on the Rockies. Again, it's about finding low ownership. I think the Padres will have some ownership. I think the Indians will be pretty popular. So I'm trying to veer away a little bit from them. We still have other teams that we didn't talk about that are also going to be low owned. But you just get the feeling that if you just stack the chalk and play the chalk pitchers both, it's just you're going to have to be perfect everywhere else if that is correct. I'd rather be wrong trying to do something a little bit different to where if we do happen to be right, we're a little more on an island. So, on big slates, I don't think we worry about ownership as much, right, Paulie? We kind of just, because it's so big, you're not really worried. But on these smaller slates, ownership is very, very important. And if the chalk wins, if the chalk goes off anyway, the stack, you were going to have a hard time really winning anyway, like getting first. If min cashing is your hobby, then, do thy dirty with that. But if your goal is to take first place in a donkey or whatever, then these are the smaller slates. The big advantage is you can really get ownership concentrated somewhere and have some leverage if you're right, if you're somewhere else. So I'll let your boy when you see him in the streets. When you see him in the streets. When you see him in the streets. With that said, hit that like button if you're having the like button. We're going to do some home runs, then we'll pop in the chat. Get a little funky with the nation. Paulie, home runs.
All right. Let's see. Randall Grichuk.
Definitely going to play Randall Grichuk. Every time you use him in the Dongwachi, it's a home run. It's not often. You don't use him often, but when you do, I've seen it too many times. I'll go with I'll go with Austin Meadows. He's been struggling a little bit, but fuck it.
Yeah, I like him too.
Start the game with a dinger today. Let's do it.
All right. Give me David Peralta.
I can dig it. I'll go with Gleyber Torres.
I'd love to see that. I want to see him get going, man. He's having that sophomore slump like
I know. But he has been hurt also, though.
Yeah. True that. I'll take Charlie Blackmon.
Charlie Blackmon. I like that a lot. I'll go with Manny Machado. I'll take a chalkier Padre, and I don't think he'll be. I think J-Ram might have more ownership than him, but Machado did profile really, really purdy against Mr. Freeland over there. Rolling that dice real dirty like. Hit the like button. Time for some questions. Let's go. Austin Clampett finally back in the Slack chat. Feel like I'm going to go on a hot streak now. Tigers did the dirty for me yesterday. Yes, the Tigers did do the dirty. If we only had the Mets with the Tigers, it would have been a glory day, but it was a good day. Welcome back in the Slack, Austin. Garrett Mendenhall, I bet Keller shuts him down. Oakland lineup is out. Vlad over Tellez. That's his question. Questioning. Vlad over Tellez?
Yeah, if you got to make that decision, sure. I like them both, though. But sure, if you have to make that decision, then yes.
Yeah. Andy Stark says the Oakland lineup is out. I'm glad you pointed that out. I did check, and Semien is out, and Chapman is out again. So we do have a couple of funky players. I do still think, I know I didn't talk about them on the show, but I know Paulie did. I still like the A's, but maybe in the rankings they drop a little bit lower for me. But I do still want to get exposure to them. I still like Matt Olson, show for show. Let's see. Jason Brander, they were banged up last year, nearly made it. The rookies are a major gamble to even touch. They might score runs, but also give up a lot. Oh, Jason, what's up, Jason? Good to see you tuning in. Working on a project. Pop in here. Chris Cox, what it do, mofos? Do to you. Do to you. Do to you. What'd you say?
I said, what it do, baby?
He really likes the Toronto Bats.
Good.
Chris Cox predicts Gurriel going deep for Toronto. San Diego's lineup is out. What do you? While we're on that, what are your thoughts on San Diego? Like, I kind of didn't really discuss too much because I was worried they were going to be popular, but it is extra humid. Padres are obviously a good offense. They've been better against righties, but you got Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been terrible.
Yeah, I'm blah on that spot. Like, the Padres have been really good to us and just good this year. I don't want to say no to them, but if I had to choose, I'd actually lean Freeland.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm stuck on that one. It's one of those situations where I may sprinkle them in, right? Like just to get a little bit because I'm doing so many teams. But I still like. I would rather, based off ownership, I would rather the Rays went out and did some dirties because they'll be a team I'll be really overweight on, and I'll feel stupid about when Scherzer shuts them down. But at the end of the day, you got to get different. Yeah, get different, like we told you before. Full circle. Favorite Arizona bats besides Peralta from Garrett Mendenhall?
What's the kid from the Angels? That's the outfielder. I like him. Boone, Ketomar, Christian Walker, Josh Rojas, Matheson, Peralta. 1 through 6.
1 through 6. All day. That's going to do it, nation. Going to run, build some teams, do thy dirty to thy neighbor, as we always say. And again, get a little different. Don't be afraid to do something out of the ordinary. It's got to make sense, right? Like if you're going to do it. You don't want to just play a bad play for the sake of playing a bad play. Got to make sense. But you do want to try to get a little different. Yeah, get different. Anything in closing, Paulie, before we get up out of here?
No. Again, thanks for joining us on Labor Day. Hope you guys had a good day. Football is officially 6 days away. I'll let you. And we'll see you later.
That's it. Matter of fact, first football show will be the first look. We'll be doing the Y streams Friday nights with Joey and Paulie. Perhaps myself. We'll see. But definitely Tuesday nights, myself and Joey on the first look. On the first look show. So make sure you check into that tomorrow night by 11:30 p.m. Eastern because Joey's in the West Coast, which is a pain in my ass. But we will get it done. We will get it done for the nation with a smile. And that's probably right. Some really red eyes. But for Paulie D, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.